My fear is that citizens, children, youth of America today are losing our history somewhat. It's not as important to them, and I think that if we don't impart that history to them, how do you know where to take our country if you don't know where we came from?
Our American history is a story about citizenship and citizens engaged, and kids learn that their civic responsibilities by knowing the stories about America. Anything that we can do to get the museum outside the physical boundaries to make sure that every child who wants to gets an opportunity to experience the story that is Colonial Williamsburg.
Revolutionary Day on the Hill. Beth and I went to Colonial Williamsburg in 2008. We did not know one another. And it was the most incredible teacher in service I've ever experienced. After I took my kids, I got with her and we started brainstorming. I said, we have got to figure out a way to create a similar day for kids in northeastern Oklahoma. It's just grown and grown. We doubled in size. We had a little over 300 last year, and we have 600 this year. I don't think we can grow anymore.
Mr. Henry was what many called the voice of the American Revolution, an orator, not a writer. But many of his contemporaries believe that if it weren't for Mr. Henry, this bold experiment would never have come about. He's one that has sort of slipped into a state of, there's almost a forgetfulness on the part of Americans today about Mr. Henry. I think it's probably because he didn't like the idea of a federal government.
Well, I just enjoy portraying him, also because he has a little orneriness to him, and kind of the interesting, silly old fella that you feel like you could talk to. But of course, when you actually know about Ben, he's very smart, very intelligent, and
I tell African stories, African American stories, stories in general. From an African point of view, we're told to teach the children how to act in their culture. Stories that deal with honesty and truth and bravery. You know, not all cultures could read and write.
History repeats itself, we all know that, because the nature of man doesn't change. And Mr. Henry speaks volumes to the people of the 21st century and the various problems that we're facing today. Because as Mr. Henry himself said, I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging of the future, but by the past.